In today's video, I wanted to touch on a famous quote that was stated by George Lucas concerning Darth Vader and his power, and explains exactly why Darth Vader lost so much power after his duel with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and exactly how powerful Anakin Skywalker would have become had he not lost his limbs and been severely burned. This is the direct quote. After all of his limbs were severed and he was extremely burned on Mustafar, he lost so much of his force potential. As Darth Vader, Skywalker was believed to have had roughly 80% of the strength of the Emperor. Had he sustained none of his injuries on Mustafar, he would have been twice as powerful. This quote explains exactly where Darth Vader was power-wise compared to the Emperor, as well as stating that at his peak as Darth Vader, he would have become twice as powerful as he was in the films, indicating Vader would have been the most powerful film character by far, outclassing both his master as well as Yoda. If we do some simple math, we can tell that Vader would be around 160% the power of the Emperor, and the power he achieved allowing him to defeat both his master as well as Yoda quite easily. If we look in the Star Wars mythos, the best characters we could compare Vader to at his potential would perhaps be Darth Vitiate, who was so powerful he could dominate the minds of strong-willed and very powerful individuals such as Revan from across the stars. Since we are aware Vader already dabbled in mind domination, it is reasonable to assume he would continue this. As far as skills with the lightsaber, it is reasonable to assume he would have far outclassed the likes of Bane and Exar Kun, although even in his suit he was comparable to both of them. But what exactly made Darth Vader so much weaker after his duel with Obi-Wan? Of course, the obvious answer is the fact that he lost most of his mobility, as well as now being hampered by an extremely cumbersome suit. But in reality, there was a factor far more impactful than this. The quote by Obi-Wan Kenobi in A New Hope excellently surmises exactly why the power of Vader was diminished so severely. This quote describes what the Force is. It's an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us and penetrates us. It binds the galaxy together. When Vader was cut down and burned, he lost much of his living tissue. As the Force operates through living things, this was hugely detrimental to the Dark Lord, as the power of the Force, or rather the conductivity through Vader's body, was severely lessened. The power in the Force does not stem from an individual alone. It stems from the level of conductivity they have through their body that allows them to tap into and manipulate the Force. This is of course governed by their midichlorian count. If a Force wielder is moved to an area with little to no living things to pull off of, their power is lessened in the Force. The Force resides in all living things. It is one's ability to manipulate that gives them power in it. The power generated does not stem from the individual alone. By losing much of his body that had previously conducted the Force, Darth Vader was weakened by approximately half according to George Lucas. And you rage and scream and reach through the Force to crush the shadow who has destroyed you, but you are so far less now than you were. You are more than half machine. You are like a painter gone blind, a composer gone deaf. You can remember where the power was, but the power you can touch is only a memory. And so, with all your world-destroying fury, it is only droids around you that implode, and equipment, and the table on which you were strapped shatters, and in the end, you cannot touch the shadow. By this same explanation, Anakin was also weakened in the Force when he lost his hand to Count Dooku. Of course, not as severely though. However, I do want to point something out that contributed to Vader's power that was not addressed by the creator himself. The dark side of the Force is fueled by negative emotion and feelings of anger or loss, both contributing to the power of the Dark Lord. By losing everything, Vader became motivated as well as felt the true power of the dark side through his pain and suffering. In discussions of Vader's power, this is an oddball factor that is rarely addressed. If Vader had not been injured on Mustafar, this factor would be diminished, thus lessening his hold on the dark side of the Force. Although Vader would not have been able to achieve what he could have as Anakin Skywalker, he still developed the dedication that is debatable if Anakin ever would have. Because of this, I believe it is only at his peak potential that a non-burned Darth Vader would have doubled his power, and that the Vader we encounter in the films is far more comparable to the perhaps unburned Vader than we all first assume. Vader was forced to compensate for his new weaknesses through dedication and through tapping into his pain and the dark side. By being severely burned and injured, the connection to the darkness that Vader had was always present. Vader completed his meditation and opened his eyes. His pale, flame-savage face stared back at him from out of the reflective black transparisteel of his pressurized meditation chamber. Without the neural connection to his armor, he was conscious of the stumps of his legs, the ruin of his arms, the perpetual pain in his flesh. He welcomed it. Pain fed his hate, and hate fed his strength. Once as a Jedi, he had meditated to find peace. Now he meditated to sharpen the edges of his anger. The armor separated him from the galaxy, from everyone, made him singular, freed him from the needs of the flesh, the concerns of the body that once plagued him. It allowed him to focus solely on his relationship to the Force. Only at his peak operating potential would Anakin far eclipse the power of Darth Vader, and it is highly unlikely Anakin would have ever achieved this. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed and want to help the channel out, be sure to hit the like button. If you would like to see more Star Wars explanation videos and stay up to date with all the Star Wars news from The Last Jedi to Star Wars Rebels, hit that subscribe button. Also, be sure to turn on notifications to see everything as soon as it comes out and to make sure that you become a living holocron today. If you would like to get in direct contact with me, follow me on Twitter, where we discuss all things Star Wars and debate with one another on the various topics concerning the universe. If you have any video ideas you want to see explored, leave them in the comments below the video with hashtag suggestion at the end of your comment so I can find it better. If you do end up leaving a suggestion, I really appreciate it and hope to one day make a full video dedicated to your question or suggested topic. Thanks again just for simply watching the video and your continued support on this Star Wars journey. May the Force be with you and have a great day.